Welcome to the Chief Architect Master Bath Design video series. Our design today is the master bathroom I call the sandstone beam bath. You can see the completed design that I've created and rendered using both photorealistic and artistic rendering techniques. As I go through the steps, I'll show you the details on how to create the design, the construction drawings, and the renderings that you can use to create your client's dream bath or kitchen. You can download this sample plan from our website. Just see our samples page at chiefarchitect.com. And if you'd like to get a free trial version of Chief Architect, you can download one from the website. So let's get started designing. Here's a preview of the floor plan that I'm going to create. You'll notice that there's a few rooms with a master bath, closet, shower, and water closet. Let's close this plan down. I'm going to begin with using a 6-inch exterior wall tool, and I'm just going to create the shape of the rectangular room that I'm after. Notice that I've got a temporary dimension that displays. I also have an automatic dimension. Let's go ahead and place our exterior dimensions using that tool, and you can see what those dimensions are when I click that. Now, if I highlight the wall, you can either drag the wall in or highlight the dimension. In this case, let's enter in 21 foot 9 inches and set the wall that way. So again, click on the wall, slide it to position it, or just simply click on the dimension and enter it. 22 foot 9 inches. Now these are exterior dimensions that I placed here, and if I want to use my interior dimension tool, let's go ahead and switch over to our NKBA dimension defaults, and let's just use our interior dimension tool, and you can just drag in a dimension line in here. And if I zoom in here, I've got that set up to be a 1/2 inch scale. You can see that that's 249 inches on the interior and 21 foot 9 on the exterior. Let's go ahead and drag another interior dimension on the other wall, and we'll just slide that over. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to draw in a few interior walls. So I'm going to use a 4-inch wall, and I'm going to come in and create an area for our shower. Again, I'm not going to worry too much about the location of these walls. And an area for the closet, as well as an area for the water closet. For the water closet, I'm going to use a 6-inch wall in here. It's actually 6.5 inches. And I'm also going to draw another small wall down here that will divide our bathtub area. So let's just go ahead and drag out a small wall in here. And let's use our interior dimension tool again, which will go ahead and place those dimensions, and we'll just pull those out here a little ways. And if I zoom in, again, if you want to click on this wall, you can move it, or if you know the exact dimension, let's go ahead and make that 48 inches, and we'll set this one to be 72 inches. And let's go ahead and do another interior dimension here. Let's zoom out here. So we'll just pull this down and pull it to the outside. In this case, for this wall, let's highlight that, and I'm going to set it to 60 inches. So it's pretty easy to make your way around and set these dimensions for your design. It doesn't take too much time. Pull this over. And for this dimension here, let's go ahead and set that. That's going to be our shower area. Set that to be 72 inches. We'll zoom in, and actually you'll notice that if I highlight a dimension, you'll see some diamonds that come off of the dimension. You can just simply grab those and pull those off if you pick something that you don't want, or you can drag one on that you may have missed. We'll set that to be 65 7/8, and let's go ahead and set this. Let's go ahead and use an interior dimension here, or an end-to-end dimension, because I want to go to the outside of that. And we'll set that to be 36 inches. And I'm just going to pull this back for the time being. Let's fill our screen, and let's take a 3D overview of what we have so far. Use the 3D overview tool, and you can see the shape for the rooms that I have. Now notice that in this case I've already got a ceiling height, floor material, moldings in each room. This is going to be our bathroom, so the particular defaults that I've used from a template plan that I'm using maybe don't have the right defaults for bathroom, but that's no problem. We'll go through and explore how to change those. Now if you click on an individual room, I can actually double click and open this up. We can name these rooms, so if this is going to be our closet, you'll see that the ceiling is actually 109 1/8. That's a 9-foot ceiling. If you look at the diagram off to the right here, it will show you both the platform layers, so it's a little bit larger by the time you add your floor finish, your floor structure, and your ceiling structure. That's why it's 109 1/8. I'm going to remove the ceiling out of this room because I'm going to create a vaulted room. And let's go ahead and open up this room over here. We'll double click on that. And again, in the see if we can find a master bath structure. Again, I'm going to use a vaulted ceiling in this case. Our water closet, let's just do the same thing. Choose bathroom. In this case, I don't like that label, so let's just give it a name of water closet. Select OK. And then this area over here, we'll select bath. And again, let's just name this shower. In this case, I actually do want a ceiling over this room, so I'm going to leave that with that check mark in there. Now that I have the rooms defined, you'll notice that nothing really changed as far as the vaulted ceiling because I haven't put this roof on to show you the vaulting on it. But let's go ahead and explore how we can add our openings in here. And let's just rotate around. And the first thing that I want to do is let's zoom in here and use our window tool. With the window tool, I'm going to place our window. Now if I double click on this window, like all objects in Chief Architect, they're actually smart objects. And you can use these objects either as a generic, non-branded, or you can use a manufacturer's catalog. In this case, I've used a window that is a non-branded window, and you'll notice several tabs and panels up here that you can go through and change things. So if you want to change the type of window, right now I have a fixed window and it has a particular color because I've set that as my default. And here are the dimension information that you can set for the window, floor to top. And as you go through each one of these tabs up here, you can specify the casing, lintel, sill, lights, and a variety of options that you can customize those windows. Let's leave this as a 32-inch by 64-inch window. Floor to top is 82. Select OK. And we'll just rotate around and place a couple more windows in here. For our water closet, let's also place a window in that room. Just slide over. And if I go back to my plan view, I can use my dimensions to specifically set that. And on the outside of our wall here, let's go ahead and place a window. And I want to resize this. You can resize these windows. You'll notice that I can just grab these handles and resize them. And again, if you double click on it, let's go ahead and open that. You can see the dimensions that I came up with are 60 inches by 50 inches. And again, floor to top is 82 inches. That looks good to me. And finally, let's go ahead and add a couple of windows in our water closet area over here. And with the window tool here, let's place a few windows. And what I want to do in this case is let's go ahead and pull this up. I'm going to make this a small mold. Let's open this up, and I want to enter in 22 by 22. I'm going to set that to 82 as well. Select OK. And now I'm going to multiple copy that. Down here in the lower left-hand toolbar, you'll find a multiple copy tool. I'm going to set that to 24 inches. I'm just going to create a couple of those windows. Select all three with a shift click, and I'm going to use my center tool to center that in that room. So now I've got the doors and windows in place. Let's go ahead and go to the next step and take a look at where those cabinets will be placed along this wall. It looks like I forgot my doors, so let's go ahead and place a couple of doors. Let's begin with a door on this side of the room. Let's select that and double click to open it. And what I want to do is use a pocket door. So I'm going to come in here, choose pocket door, get a preview update of that. And if I tile my screens, I pressed a shortcut here. Let's minimize this completed floor plan. You'll notice if I zoom in, you can see the pocket door in our floor plan view. And if I highlight it, I actually get a temporary dimension. And you can slide this door down, or you can highlight the dimension as we did earlier. And if I set that 3.5 inches to the edge, now I can copy that door. And let's just reflect it about the center of this room here. And I've got another door, and it's bumped against the wall as far as I can. Let's just use this change opening hinge side, and we'll flip the door around, and we'll also set that to be 3.5 inches off the edge there. And then the final door that I want to add, come back over here to our 3D view, is perhaps a door that would go to the bedroom or the exterior. Let's just place a door in here. And you'll notice the difference. This one has glass on it. I'm using defaults. Any door that you use, any window that you use, you can actually highlight that object. There's a default down here, so any of the attributes you may have set for that object, you can define that as a default, and then all future objects you place that are like that will come in with those attributes. So this door looks fine, and I believe these other doors that I placed also, they're 36-inch doors. And that pretty much lays out our doors. And now what I want to do, let's go ahead and zoom in here. And if I place our cabinet, let's go ahead and place our first base cabinet. Again, you'll see the defaults that I have set up for my cabinet, particular countertop color, particular wood species, particular hardware. And those are all defaults that you can use. When you double click the cabinet, just like the doors and windows, I have tabs and panels here. You can easily modify these cabinets. Or you can also browse to a manufacturer catalog and use a specific manufacturer's box and door and drawer style. The first thing I'm going to do is change the cabinet height to 34 inches. And I'm also going to change the width to 30 inches. Now, if I click on the front of the cabinet, I can change the door and drawer styles or the face components in here. In this case, I'm actually going to click on this, and I'm going to delete that door. And I'm going to leave it as an opening. Select OK. And now that's set up. Now let's go ahead and place a couple more cabinets, and it looks like let's go ahead and open that up and change the height to 34 inches. Select OK, and let's set that as our default, so now all subsequent future cabinets will have that same depth, same height. The depth in this case is still 24 inches, and I want a thicker cabinet, a wider cabinet for that bathroom. So I'm going to delete that cabinet just for a minute, and I'm going to select, let's go ahead and broaden our view here. Let's select this cabinet, use the center tool, and I'm going to center that exactly in the center of the room. You noticed a visual indicator that I would have gotten. Let's tilt our view up. I'm going to show you an elevation camera here in just a minute as soon as I place a couple more cabinets. Let's place one more cabinet here. Again, you'll notice the height comes in at 34. Let's go ahead and widen that out, and if you double click on the cabinet. I'm going to set this to be my sink base, so I'm going to go ahead and change the width to be 36 inches. And in this case, I also want to remove the drawer out of that cabinet. I'm going to click on the front face item, press delete, and remove that drawer out of there. This is going to serve as my sink base. And finally, I'm going to place one more cabinet off to the side here. And let's go ahead and pull that in to be something like 18 inches. Looks like I missed it slightly. Set it to be 18 inches. And I want this to be a bank of drawers. So I'm going to come in to the face item, and I'm going to check the button here, Add New. Select Drawer, and let's just give it a value of something like 8. And then let's change the door back to a drawer. So now I've got a 3-drawer bank. Pretty easy. Now, before I complete the rest of the vanity series here, let's open up the library. And in the library of Chief Architect, you'll find well over 10,000 items, as well as the ability to import from a variety of manufacturer sources. Chief Architect has most of their manufacturer catalogs available as a 3D library download, and you can just go out there and download those and browse to the catalogs and then find the particular component you want and then drop it in. What I have done, you'll notice in my catalog off to the right here, I have user catalog. And I oftentimes will create a favorites area. In this case, I have a trade show favorites. I also have different plan folders. And I typically will use similar items over and over. The same toilet, the same sink, the same refrigerator. And then that gives me a starting point, and I can customize it or make it manufacturer specific as I need to for various clients. So for this bathroom, let's go ahead and open up my favorites folder here. I've got sandstone beam bath, and I'm going to go ahead and find my sink that I've added in here. I'm just going to scroll down here. Here I've saved a link to the Kohler sink. So I'm going to come over here and click on the cabinet and place the sink. And then I'm going to mix and match. I'm going to find our deck mounted faucet. And let's go ahead, oops, sorry about that. Find our deck mounted faucet. And we'll just come over here and click that. So all I have to do, let's actually center that on the cabinet. The sink inserts into the cabinet. And now I've got the sink base complete with the sink in there. Let's go into our floor plan view. Shift F6 on my keyboard is a shortcut. We'll zoom in. You'll see that my sink base label has updated. Here's my faucet, and I may want to select that and pull that forward a little bit. Be more exact if I wanted to click on those dimensions and add it specifically. Now, to grab and replicate these two cabinets, I'm going to highlight the sink, the cabinet with the sink, and the cabinet to the left of the sink. Use my copy, reflect about the center, and rotate that around. So there is my vanity run completed. Now the next step is we'll look at changing the colors, do our elevation, and also adding our backsplash behind the cabinet. I'm going to use the wall elevation camera and take a wall elevation of the cabinet wall that we've been working on. And in this view, you can continue your design work. Select the cabinet, you can resize it, stretch it out. You can also double click on the cabinet and make the same modifications. So you can design in the elevation view, a plan view, or in the perspective view as we laid out these cabinets. Whichever one is convenient or a combination of those, the views are always simultaneously updated. One of the tools that I have in this view is an automatic National Kitchen and Bath dimension tool. If I select this, it's going to place the dimensions as you typically might find with the NKBA. So on the first row down here below the cabinets, you'll see that it's picked up the boxes, it's picked up our interior casing. On the second row, it's done our center lines for the sinks. And on the third row is an end-to-end wall dimension. Some of the dimensions you may need to clean up. You'll notice that off to the right-hand side here, if I double-click on this dimension, you can see that the extension's gone too far. You can just pull those back, or you can double-click on the dimension, come into the extensions, and remove the default, and just say length towards selected object. Let's try something like that, and it'll make the adjustments for you. So the NKBA dimensions that are automatically placed are a great way to start. You can always place and add additional dimensions. If you want to grab an extra toe kick, I could just come in here and simply draw a line in here, grab the dimension. You'll notice there's a diamond. Let's just pull that onto that. And I believe our toe kick, I just randomly drew that, was 4.5 inches. And we can pull that extension back in. So it's very easy to add your dimensions or remove dimensions just simply by pulling the diamond off. Pretty quick. So the next thing I want to do with this is add our backsplash, a couple of mirrors, and our light. In my library, if I open up our catalog over here, I'm going to come down into my user catalog, and I have a folder that I've saved for this bathroom called the Sandstone Beam Bath. You can see here in my folder. The way I manage my files, I'll create a collection of favorites, which I call my trade show favorites. And then I also create a collection for each design that I do over time. It's just a way that I like to organize my files. You can always use a search and not create your own folder system, whatever's convenient for you. So in my folder here, I have a mirror and a couple of lights. Let's come down here, find our mirror, place that. And if I double click on the mirror, I want to set the floor to the bottom at something like 38 inches. Select OK. Use my center tool. And I'm going to get a visual indicator on the sink base. Click that and center the mirror. Find a light over here. And I'm going to come over here, click the light. And again, I'm going to set the height to the center at something like 67.5 inches. Select OK. Again, use the center tool. Down here in the lower left, center that on the base cabinet. And now I'm going to copy that light and reflect it around our sink base. So I've got those three objects placed, and now what I want to do is select all three and copy them and reflect them around the center cabinet. So let's go ahead and select all three here. Copy, reflect about the center. And that's a quick and easy way to get those items placed. For my backsplash, I'm going to add something a little bit more interesting than a 4-inch backsplash. I'm actually going to create a backsplash that goes from the top of the counter up to the casing of the door. So using this tool, I'm going to come in here and approximately create the distance here. And I'm just going to stretch that across to the casing. I'm not going to be too exact for the purpose of the video. And we'll just snap that over to the casing here. And you can see that the default is pretty thick. I'm just going to reduce that to something like 1/4 inch. Set it up that way. And now I want to apply the material to this. Let's go ahead and pull that down so that it is near the top of the casing. I'm going to find a material for that backsplash. And what I want to do is I actually want to apply a cedar to this. So I'm just going to apply that. Let's go ahead and pull that over here just a little bit. Should have been a little bit more exact. And we'll just snap that using our crosshairs into the casing. So I've added the backsplash, and let me close down my elevation view in my library browser here. And let's take a 3D overview and let's change a few of the materials in here. So you can see here's our backsplash in this perspective overview. And what I want to do is I want to take this cedar and actually match it to the cherry wood style that I have on the doors. So I'm going to use my rainbow tool here. It's called Adjust Materials. I'm going to select it, and on the Texture tab here, if I choose this Blend Color with Material, what I can do is use the color chooser, and I can drag this onto any surface really, and it doesn't have to be on my screen. It could be on a digital photo that your client brings to you. So I'm going to grab that color off of the door. Let's lighten it up just a little bit here. And so I'm going to have a similar color match off of our cherry off of the doors. Select OK and brighten that up. I may have gotten it a little bit too bright, but the color chooser is a pretty handy tool. The next thing I'm going to do, as long as I'm in this perspective view, let's change a few of the colors and materials. The first thing I'm going to do is let's select this room, and I want to remove the molding. So I'm going to come in here and select our base molding and just press delete and remove that molding out of the room. I'll do the same thing for the other rooms as well. The other thing is in the library, let's go ahead and find our materials. And I'm going to choose a flooring material that I have here. It's a mosaic tile. And I'm just going to spray that on the different floors. Let's tilt our camera up here a little bit. And we'll just go ahead and grab all of the floors that we have in our design here. So you can use the material painter and really apply any material, whether it's the walls, wall coverings, and let's find our countertop material, and we'll go ahead and apply that to the different rooms. I'll just apply that to all of these elements in here. So every room's going to get that sandstone dust. And for our countertop and our cabinet color, let's use the same cherry in here, and in here you can paint individual components or you can paint the entire object. My material painter can paint the entire object or all objects in a room. So let's just paint the different objects for our cabinets and change those colors as well. And finally, let's find our countertop material over here. So in this case, for the sandstone countertop material, I'm going to change the material painter to do all materials in the room. So when I click on one countertop, it'll make a change to the entire countertop. And if we zoom in here and you don't like the way the grain is going, again, you can use the rainbow tool here. Come in, change the angle of that, make the adjustment, and select the change. The next step in the design is to create our tub and tub platform. You can see in a rendering here that our tub is inset slightly under mount and it wraps around the wall. So to create a custom tub platform, one, I could place a base cabinet and stretch it very long and insert it like you saw earlier in the video with the sink, or I can place a freestanding tub, so to speak, and then create the platform as you might actually do it in the field. So that's the approach I'm going to take for creating our tub platform. The first step is to place our bathtub. So I'm going to come over here and place the tub in the area. Center tool on the window or the base cabinet. And I'm also going to center it based on our shower room here as well. Now the next step is to create our custom platform, and I'm going to use the exact same tool that I used to create the backsplash. It's called our Polyline Solid tool, and I'm going to come in here and snap to the corner, and I'm just going to come in here and approximately align it with the inside of the wall of the shower. And it looks like in doing that I didn't snap it to the let's go ahead and snap that to the interior wall. that we're going to use for our towel area. And now what I want to do with the platform is I actually want that to bend around the area for our towels. So to do that, I'm going to use a brake tool, and I'm just going to come in here and select that brake, and I'm going to pull it down here a ways. So I've got the shape for the tub platform. Now all I have to do is set the height of it. So if I double click on that and I set the elevation, let's go ahead and set it to be 22.5 inches. See if I got that right. And the thickness is 22.5. Select OK. And now I've got a big slab in here for the tub. Now that's a solid slab, and what I'm going to need to do is create a cutout for the tub itself. So I'm going to use the exact same tool to create that cutout, and I'm just going to come in here on the tub and we'll create that shape. And if I double click on it, you'll see that there is an option that says hole in the polyline solid. So I've just created a hole in that larger platform that we have. And I'm going to resize that slightly so that we can pull that in. Actually, let's just use our Control C, and we can concentrically resize that in. So let's see, Control C, and we'll just pull that in here a little ways. Let me go ahead and take a 3D overview. This is a camera that is looking down without the roof or ceiling on. And you can see our tub here and our platform with our material eyedropper. Let's go ahead and select the countertop material, click on that, apply it to the tub platform. So pretty easy to make that application. Now all I have to do is add our faucet, and we should be complete with the tub platform. We'll come over here, find our deck mounted faucet, and we'll just come over here and place that. This faucet's probably designed to mount on the floor, but we'll go ahead and select that, and let's bring up our plan view so we can grab that faucet. There we go. And we'll need to raise that off the floor since that symbol is designed to sit on the floor. And we'll just say floor to bottom is something like 22.5 inches. And there we've got our tub faucet placed. And I see I forgot to paint the inside of that wall for our closet or our pantry, actually our towel area. So I'm just going to use a material eyedropper and click on those and apply that. Next step, I want to add the shelving for the towel area, and I'm also going to add our shower door, as you can see in this watercolor rendering. Let's go ahead and take a look at those two steps. I'm going to use my back clipped cross-section tool, and I'm just going to create a cross-section right in here so we can take a look at the area that we want to place our shelving. Under our cabinet tools, you'll find partition and shelves. So I'm going to go ahead and just create a shelf in here. Let's zoom in so we can see that. And I'm going to snap that to the inside of the wall. And now if I double click on it, I want this shelf to be pretty thick. So I'm going to change the thickness to something like 3 inches. And then the floor to bottom, let's go ahead and set that to something like 18 inches. Select OK. And now I'm going to use my material eyedropper, pick up the cabinet color here, and apply that to the shelf. Now I want a series of shelves to go up on this area for the towels. So I'm going to select this first shelf that we created, and I'm going to use our multiple copy tool down here in the lower menu on the left hand side of your screen. Select multiple copy, and the interval that I want to copy that at, I want to have about 12 inches of space in between my shelves, and I have a 3-inch thick shelf, so I'm going to enter in 15 inches. Select OK, and then I'm just going to drag a series of copies of that shelf up there, and then we can place our towel accessories on there. I'll close the cross section and move on to the shower door. In our plan view, select our door tool, and let's go ahead and pull that somewhere in the middle. And if I double click on the door, there's a few things that I want to do. First thing is, let's change it to a glass door. And you'll notice every time I make a change, the panel on the right side will update with the changes that we're going to apply. Let's change the width to 60 inches. And for our glass, we'll set it at 3/8 of an inch. And as far as our rough openings, you probably don't need to change these because this is really only for framing purposes, unless you want to show the detail. On the Options tab, I want to have the right-hand side of this door swing only. And I'm going to also have it swing from both directions. And finally, mark tempered glass. Only important if you're doing your materials list or your schedule of materials. On the casing, let's suppress our casing, suppress the sill, and let's see, on the frame, let's go ahead and reduce that to as small as we can get the frame. And finally, on the hardware, let's change that to a pull handle for both sides of the door. And I think we've got all the changes that we need. And select that. Let's go ahead and adjust that swing angle in. Select the door, center it on the room. And if we take our 3D overview, we should be able to see our glass shower door. Zoom in here a little bit. And it looks like I didn't remove that molding out of that room. So let's just select the room, double click on it, come into the Moldings tab, and we'll select the base molding and delete that. I want to create a bench that will actually protrude into the glass. And the same tool that we used to create the tub platform, let's use that same tool. Let's split our screen here. And we'll zoom into this area of the shower. Using that polyline solid tool, let's just come in here and snap to the wall. Actually, let's go ahead and just pull it part way through, and we'll have that stick out. And typical tub bench might be 17 or 18 inches in height. Let's go ahead and set that to be 18 at the thickness. Select OK. You can see the bench. We'll grab our material eyedropper here in our 3D view, grab the tub platform color, and then apply that on there. So it's pretty easy to make those adjustments to your colors. The final structural thing that I want to do for the bathroom is add in our beams. And you'll notice that these are a timber frame off of a open ceiling that's been vaulted. And I'm going to design the, I'm going to go ahead and place our roof on our plan here, and I'm going to create that at the 3 and 12 pitch. Let's look at how to do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is let's go ahead and build our roof. And you'll find a roof and ceiling tool here, and if I double click on that, I'm going to build our roof planes, and I'm going to make it automatically rebuild. I've changed the pitch to 3 and 12, and there are many other defaults to do with the roof. You'll notice all of the tabs up here, and I'm just going to basically ignore that. Really the only thing I'm after is a 3 and 12 pitch roof. So let's go ahead and select OK, and we want to build perhaps a gable roof. And you can see our roof outline in our 2D plan view. And let's just take a quick peek at the 3D overview here. So you can see our roof so far. Again, I'm not really after the exterior. Let's close that down. And once we've generated the roof, that creates an envelope that when I stick in any members like a timber beam, it's going to snap to that envelope. So it makes it pretty easy to do that design work. So in Chief Architect Premiere, I have a framing tool for the roof, and I'm going to select that roof beam tool. Let's just zoom in here a little bit, and let's draw a roof beam that will snap from the wall to the interior wall that would be load bearing. And if I double click on this roof beam, I'm going to set the depth to 16 inches, and I'm going to change the thickness to something like 8 inches. It would be an engineered piece of lumber in here. Select OK. And now I want to create a copy of that. And I'm going to use the copy tool, and I'm going to pull that down. And as I'm pulling that down, I'm just going to press the tab key because I want that to be a specific dimension. And I'm going to enter in 12 inches. It's actually negative because I'm dragging it down the screen. So if my beam is 8 inches, that's going to leave me a 4-inch gap in between the two beams. Select OK, and now you can see those beams in our plan view. Now if I zoom out here just a little bit, let's go ahead and select both of these beams, and I'm going to use a multiple copy here down in the lower left hand corner, and let's set that to be 48 inches. OK, for our rafters, you see that. And let's just pull those down, and we'll create a grouping of those. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is let's hold our shift key down and group select all of those beams, and we'll center that on our room. When I drew that first beam, I didn't really pay much attention to the dimension. I've centered them on the room. Now I want to copy and reflect those around the center of our roof. And now that we've got that done, we'll be able to take a 3D overview, and you can see our beams. Now I'm probably going to go in here and pull up our wall on the center. Let's see if we can grab that in this view here, and we'll just pull that up. It'd be more accurate in a cross section to get that very specific. So now you can see our wall and the overview of the room. We've created the structural elements for the design. We've also created our elevations and applied our materials and textures. The final step is to create your construction drawings. Here on my title page, I've created our 3D perspectives. I've used our ray trace photorealistic image on the top, and then I've used what we call our artistic renderings on the bottom. You may find at times it's more appropriate to show a sketch or maybe a vector drawing that just shows the lines and doesn't get as specific for your colors and materials, depending on what you want to do for your client. On the subsequent page, I've added my floor plan and my elevation. If we zoom in here a little bit, Chief Architect is layer based, so if you want to turn off your electrical, if you want to turn off your cabinets, turn off your nomenclature, you can do that through the layers. And each one of these elements, if you double click on it, is completely linked to the model. So once you have that view open, all you have to do is send it out to this layout page, set the scale, and then it's automatically linked, so anytime you make a change, it will automatically update. If you move a door, add a window, always up to date, and you don't have to worry about it. Let me show you quickly how that works in the program, and we'll conclude. So I'm going to open up our layout. And in the layout, you'll notice that I've already got my title block set up in here and some of the information. On page 0, I'm on page 2 right now. Page 0 is a master page, so you can set anything that you want to display on all pages on that sheet. And then on subsequent pages, you can enter in your information. So if I go back to our floor plan and the wall elevation we were working on previously, if I double click on that, open it up, I can now apply that and send it to our layout sheet. So let's go ahead and send that out, set our scale at 1/2 inch and the page number, select OK. And now that layout is on there. Now you can customize this. Let's go ahead and suppress the label down here. You see this wall elevation. I want it to look a little nicer, so I'm going to use my callout text in here, and we'll just come in here and just call it A, and let's go ahead and put an arrow on it, a large arrow, and let's go ahead and select OK. We'll zoom around here. And now I can also put our text in here and just call it, set our caps lock on, bath, vanity, wall, elevation, or whatever you want. You can change the text style. Let's go ahead and change our font to be a blueprint style font. And the character height, if you want to change that, we can set that to 1/4 inch. Select OK. And we can slide that over here just a little bit. And I may want to make that same change on the arrow. Let's go ahead and change the text style to the blueprint. And we'll set that to be 1/4 inch. And apply those changes. So now anytime I double click on this elevation view, as I mentioned, if you make a change, it's going to update in the view, and you don't have to worry about something being out of sync. If you want to get a closer look at the construction drawings, a sample plan set, you can visit our website. We'll have the sample plan available on the sample section. You can download that. You can also download a trial version. Follow along with this design, make the changes yourself, or design your own design. And thanks for watching the video, and have a great day.